I suspect that the sight of their warship being towed by a Federation runabout took the heart out of their fight.
We're not done with the Cardassians yet. Not with the strategic importance of that wormhole.
Well, you've put Bajor on the map, Commander. This will shortly become a leading center of commerce and of scientific exploration. And for Starfleet, one of our most important posts.
Alright, hey, good evening. Welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler. It's not been a highly productive week here in the modeling world. Super busy with work and mowing lawn and all those summertime activities and getting out riding my bicycle a little bit. Also on the agenda. So I did manage to get some things done here, and we'll cover those quickly in the first half of this update. Welcome to the Sloppy Modeler. This is update number 1 for the AMT Round 2 USS Rio Grande from Star Trek DS9, Deep Space Nine. This is the Runabout in 1/72nd scale. And primarily what I've been doing is preparing for all of the lighting and the wiring routing as we go putting this together. Also getting the parts have all been kind of trimmed up. A lot of them have been sanded, and we'll talk just real quickly about a little bit of that stuff, and we'll talk about where we're going to run the lighting and where we're going to run the wires. So out of the gate, we've already talked quite a bit about what we're going to do on this, but this will kind of give us an idea of where we're going. So these are the pillars or the pylons that hold up the sensor array. And essentially what I've got is I've got one negative going in through there, and I did that by hollowing out or just drilling a hole right there in the top of that, drilling a hole there, and then drilling the same hole and then running wire through there just as a placeholder or a placekeeper at that point. Same thing here on the other side, running wire. So the intent is to run positive up through one side and negative down through the other, and then put lighting inside of the sensor array here. We would call this the roll bar on the USS Reliant. Anyways, so what I've done here, I'm not going to put any lighting on the top or bottom, but I am going to just lay in, I think, 2 bright light white strips in here in order to provide the lighting, because what I've done is I've put a couple of holes here in the rear of the sensor, so those will have just a little bit of lighting going out there, and then in the front sensor dome I've got lights that are going to go right through there. Then once I have the lights in, I'm going to use a microcrystal clear to put the I'm going to use microcrystal clear to fill any of the holes that I've put in here, and then I'll probably paint some with like clear yellow, clear red, clear blue to provide some lighting on that. But so those are ready to be light blocked now at this stage in order to have that lighting go through that. On the nacelles, they don't look any different, but they certainly are from when I started last week. So one of the things I've noticed about these nacelles is in order for them to really line up, you actually have to push kind of down on one side, and then they finally line up. So when I go to glue these, that's going to be its own significant challenge. But in that setting, I have gone ahead and done all the sanding. So this is all ready to light block now. In the top of the nacelle, you see I've got a hole right there for the front navigation light, and a hole right there for the rear, and a hole right there for the rear. Sorry about that. Let's get this back up and rolling here. Yeah, so I've got a hole right here for the rear. where that's going to have a flashing beacon on both sides. So I've gone ahead and put that into the mix for having an anti-collision light. Both nacelles were done like that, so we're good to go there. On top of that, you'll see that I've got holes drilled in the bottom and top section of each of the wings, here and here. I've got those drilled there, and I've got them there. These will feed down into the top of the hull, and these will feed wires down into the nacelles. So when you're using magnet wire, I can usually get 2 wires per hole, and that will give me the ability to put that into place. So that is the next step there on the wings. Additionally, on each wing, I've cut out, you can see I've cut out this piece here, and I've cut out the back here for the rear of the impulse engine and the front. And so what I've done, I found just some clear plastic and cut that out. And then what I've done is I also took vellum paper. That is vellum paper. I found a honeycomb style print, printed on that vellum paper, cut it out to the size of that, and hopefully what we're going to see is I'm going to leave that black and white, and then I'm going to put the clear plastic on the back, and and then the last piece here, we'll get this here in place like so. Oh, is that the right one? Oh, put it the right way. Yeah. So that is what you have from a viewpoint. Oh. That is what you have as a raw image. So without any lighting or anything like that, you're going to see that from the back. You're going to see that piece there. I'm sorry this is mocked up. I apologize for the dealing with the fumble fingers here, but so that is what that is going to look like from the front. And I think once you see a lighting put in there, let's just try and do that here real quick. That's going to light up. So what my intention is to leave that black, leave the vellum the same color. This plastic currently has a covering on it, but I'll pull that off. I'm going to paint this orange. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave this clear. I'm going to have orange lights. I'm going to put a pretty bright set of orange lights, maybe 2 of them in here, to really, really light that up. And so it'll be black when it's just without lights. It'll just be that black finish, but then it'll be orange when it's set up. I'm going to put a black, painted black piece of plastic like this here in the middle of these two in order to light block this side orange and this side red, because I'm going to put a bright red bulb in there, and by painting that centerpiece plastic black, that'll light block that enough that that piece right there will then have red and that piece there will be orange. So I'm actually really thrilled with that section of it. And this is the same thing. So I've gone ahead and cut that out in the front, and also I cut those out and have trimmed them. I do need to file them and clean them up with some sandpaper. Hadn't had a chance to do that yet, but that turned out really nice. So when those are finally finished, we shouldn't have to buy a second resin kit or a clear resin kit or clear resin pieces because I've used that plastic, and then I use that piece there. In the top of the hull, what I've done is I've actually, again, these are the places where the wires will come in from the dome. I'm sorry, these are wires where the wires are going to come in from the wings. And then I've also got spots here for red lights that you see in the films. And then these are the thrusters here. I'm sorry, these are the navigation light here, and then the thrusters, one there and one on the back. One here and one on the back there, another navigation light there. And then ultimately wrapping up, I'm going to use, again, the clear glass. I'm going to paint that white and put those in all of the windows so it'll be lit up white as we proceed. So I'm kind of thrilled with some of the progress, having had such a short period of time to work on this. I have started to put together my paint selection, and until I do some test plots of spray, I'm not sure where we're at, but my initial goal or initial thought is for the base, I'm going to use, for the base, I'm going to use this ash gray mixed with mother of pearl. And so we're going to put that in a combination, probably like 75-25, to bring that gray down just a little bit. That'll be the base color. And then working progressively up through some of the other colors here. A wet cement, which I used on the moon bus, I'll use for some of the darker panels. And I've got this color here, which is a multi-surface pearl in frost blue. So there's, I think these are what I'm going to paint the nacelles with. Those turn out typically very nice. For my sand and my, nope, wrong direction here. For my sand color, yeah, so for my sand color, there we go. I'm going to use this color called root beer float, and so that's for the light tan colors, and then the darker tan colors are this acorn. So that you can see will be like here and some of the other spots. Again, also what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this circle off here and then light block the inside, because this is ready to light block as it sits. Tape that off around there, and then tape it off, of course, on the outside. And then when it comes to it, I will paint all of these ridges black. I'm going to leave the center gray, paint all the ridges black, paint the outside in the gray color of the hull, and then lay in just one light coat of light blue. And probably I'll use either an Arctic blue from Tamiya, which is this right here, or it's clear blue rather. Let's see, I'll have to pull it out later, but I have oh, here we go. This is metallic blue, and kind of the same thing as that frost is, but it's closer to a clear. And what I think I'll do is use that, or I can use the following blue here, which is a transparent blue from Model Masters in acrylic, but it's a little darker than the Tamiya. So I do want it to light up blue when that crystal is lit. And what I'll probably do is put a piece of styrene around across here on the inside, so I can actually just lay a bulb right through that styrene and have something to glue it to. But we'll get to that in the next update. So for now, this is the Star Trek DS9, Deep Space Nine, Rio Grande Runabout, USS Rio Grande Runabout, update number 1. This is probably the first half. I'll do the second half once the light blocking is done. But this is the progress that we've made as far as getting ready for the lights when they go in here. So now I'm set. I'm very thrilled with what with the progress now that I've made. So in the meantime, I will catch you in the second half of Update. Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler, and we are making some pretty decent progress on the Rio Grande, USS Rio Grande from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And we're going to just walk you through on this update number 1, the prep that we've done so far and where we're going from here as far as the next steps. So let's talk about what you're seeing in front of you right now. Essentially, we have pulled together all of the parts and have light blocked them all, and that is 2 coats of black primer, flat black primer on the insides, and then a coat of white primer on the insides, and then a coat of gray primer on the outside. So from a light block perspective, that's as far as I can go, hopefully at this stage. Then we brought the parts back in here and we started laying out the LED lights for the different areas, and we'll show you just a couple of those as we go through. But for right now, I'll just point out what you're looking at. So with these wings here, the front side would be the orange with the different pattern on there, and then the back side is going to be the red. And so what we've got is 2 red LEDs and 2 orange LEDs in here. And then I did finally glue that. Piece here onto each of the plastic pieces. So in essence, what you've got now, since it's a lot more sturdy and controlled, now you can see that pattern is really coming through. And when it's not lit up, it's going to be this black honeycombed pattern. When it is lit up, behind there you're going to see orange. And I'll just do a quick sample of that with one of the orange lights here to show you what we've come up with, and hopefully it'll really look good. So just bear with me for a second as I plug. I'm just going to use one. Plug that in, and then give me some orange here. So this is a 3mm orange LED. I'm going to dump the 2 red ones there. And behind that now, you can see, plug that in, and now the orange LED right there really makes that orange. And so I'm going to have to diffuse the back of that a little bit with some sort, but even that with 2 in there is going to look fantastic. So what you're seeing, and you're seeing a bit of a hot spot now, but I think if I lay them in like that, that's going to look really good with 2 different bulbs in there, especially the orange when that lights up. And it is orange in person, and if I don't point it directly at it, it doesn't give me a hot spot. So I am going to work hard on that, not to have 2 hot spots. That's why I looked at two different orange bulbs in there. So both of those on the wings have been done, and we're making good progress there. The red for the impulse engines will be the same way. All of these have been wrapped with a resistor and ready to do the soldering and the wiring, and that's a whole different ball game. So those wings are prepped and ready to go with all those parts. The next thing that we're looking at from the bottom is essentially I'm just going to do a parallel wiring of this entire group here. So this will give me enough light under the cockpit for the 2 front windows. This will give me the 2 side windows here, and I guess I need to move that forward further, much like that. And then the backs here will give me lots of light for this back window and the 2 side windows. And so those are going to be the pieces for underneath. And then on the inside here, what I've done is I've laid out the front anti-collision marker, and I've laid out the 2 lights for the thrusters. And these are a couple of yellow lights that I built a little light box here for. I'm not sure if I can get both of these in place or not. Let's see. Yeah, so both of those are lit up. So when you put that in with that little light box, now you've got 2 thrusters that are going to be yellow, and that'll be yellow on the other piece. And so there is your thrusters. I'm not sure if I can get that into focus or not. Doesn't look like it. Sorry about that. But anyways, that light box is going to have 2 thrusters. So those are lit up yellow. I used yellow bulbs, and so that'll take care of that. In addition, I'm using stovetop bulbs, which are taped to the side here for the 2 navigation lights on the side. And then what I don't have done yet is I put a piece of styrene in here, and then I have the bulbs ready to go. I've got 4 red bulbs that'll go here, 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 and here. and I'm going to drill a hole in there and put a big blue 5mm in there, right dead center, to lock in the engine crystal, the impulse engine crystal. So that is the lighting for the runabout as we pull together. Just a quick coat, it's hard to say, of gray primer on the outside, and hopefully what that'll do is that will give me, when I put the other light coat of white paint, that'll hopefully darken up these, that'll hopefully darken up all of the panel lines enough that I don't have to do a wash after it. So hopefully that's kind of in the works right there. So once we've got the top done, and then each of the nacelles, they're going to have 2 red LEDs in the front for the Bussard collectors. This long piece of LED strip tape for the chiller grills on the side, or the grills on the side for the warp engines. And then each of these has both a nav light and a anti-collision light. So there's the big bright white for the anti-collision. And in essence, what you're going to see here is I've made that hole large enough that that stovetop peeks out across the top just a little bit, just enough to get us there, but not so large that it's, and it's bright. You can see the camera has really got that a bright look right there. So for the most part, that is going to look fantastic. That is the white bulb there, and then depending on which side this is, I'm not sure if it's the nacelle green or the nacelle. Oh, it'd be the red one. So same thing with the navigation light. It's a stovetop LED that pops into that little hole right there, and you've got the same thing. So it does stick up just a touch, and gives us a nice red, deep red in person. Kind of washed out here, but a deep red in person for that navigation light on that side, and of course the other one would be the green. So the lights have all been accounted for in each of the nacelles, so those will go together. All right, so the next set of steps is to paint a light coat of I'm going to use the Testors transparent blue, and that's a little bit darker blue. So I'm going to paint the backs of these with that blue, and then over the top of that I want to use a wash of copper. So what I'm going to do is take my copper paint, which is here, XF6 copper, and I am going to dilute that really deeply. I'm going to dilute that with, I don't know, white, or maybe just make it a wash, right? So I'm going to dilute that so it's not I'm trying to make it a transparent copper is what I'm doing. So what I want to do, when these lights are off, you'll have a bit of a blue hue inside of the nacelle, but you won't have a super blue like it's painted, hopefully, that then when the light hits it and lights up, suddenly you've got a really nice look for the light blue that'll hook up. So I'm going to try that with some clear parts that I have first before I paint these. So that's going to be an exercise in paint, but I'm going to again do a brush on that. And then I've also got in here would be the Bussard collectors, and I'm going to leave those clear. I'm not going to paint them red because I got red LEDs going in there, but I'm going to sand the inside of those and make them very much opaque for this look. So that is the next step, is to start sanding the inside of those. And then the next piece on the top here, you can see that we've got our windows that are ready to go in. It looks like it's in the back here. Let's see if it goes in a different way. I don't think I had it right the first time. All right, so those windows are going to go in, and as I mentioned in the first part of this video, I'm going to paint those white. I don't have an interior. I'm not building an interior, so I'm going to back paint those with white, and that'll just light up when it'll be white when it's in there, and then it'll light up super white when the lights come on. And so I hate to ruin real nice clear glass like that, but it is nice that I can back paint that with a white, flat white, and then that will come up with a nice gloss. Again, very much like I've done for the planetary sensor and the bridge dome on the original series Enterprise. So that is the glass. You've got the side windows and the fronts that are in here. In addition, you've got the front. Same thing here. Now, what I am looking at is what I'm not sure how to do this, but it would be nice to have a black frame around there, and then the tan, black frame, and then white behind it. So I really have to do some thinking and some enumerating on that to figure out how I can get that to happen. It is nice glass, as you can see. That camera's out. It is nice glass, and it's going to look really sharp. But again, I want that to light up. These will light up when we're in the. These will light up when we're in the white, and when that happens, that should be it. So for that, I think this is going to bring the USS Rio Grande from Deep Space Nine first update to a close. And the next time you see it, a lot of this wiring will be done and wired up, and then we will start looking at how we finish some of these things. Oh, I do have one more part that's done. I guess I can jump on it real quick. Here is the top sensor dome, or sensor arch, sensor roll bar, I don't know what you want to call that. And this is glued up and ready to be put on there. So what you've got there is a couple of really light white lights there, and 7 lights in the front that I don't know if you can see it in the screen, but there are 7 lights in there that are going to be different colors, as I mentioned, but that is all glued up. It's wired. And what I did is I just ran 3 of these yellow LED strips through here, and then a positive in one side with a magnetic wire and a negative out the other. And so those will go in like so when that goes on board, and when that's wires fed into the wing, that's just one less wire to lock up. No anti-collision there, but that is done. So thank you so much for your viewing. I appreciate the guys that have left a few comments, and I welcome your comments on what I've done so far here. And with that, I'll bring this update number 1 to a close. And this is a Sloppy Modeler saying, go out and enjoy building a model. It's a lot of fun, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you.